Welcome to the Elevated Marketing podcast show that is designed for business owners and marketers who are tired of overhyped advice. We talk through what we're testing, we challenge assumptions, and we share what's really happening in the world of marketing, which is messy, creative, and always evolving. Welcome to the show. Hello, and welcome back to another Elevated Marketing podcast. My name is Jennifer Denny. I am the owner and founder of Elevated Marketing Solutions. And if this is your first time joining us, we've been doing this for quite a while, as I feel like I say every time, but I know consistency really matters when it comes to trust. And so this isn't something new or trying a new trend or anything like that. Just been doing it for a while. So if you want to learn more about us, you can go to elevatedmarketing.solutions. So today I want to talk about before you invest in another marketing tactic, which I know that's how most of you tend to want to buy your marketing is with a tactic, you've got to answer these 6 questions. And let's just kind of go and tell the story that, if you've been in business for any amount of time, typically when you go talk with a marketing agency or, if you talk to a marketing person, people will start telling you to invest, or maybe you just read an article like you need to invest in SEO or AEO, or you need to do social media. And it goes back to that tactic. And the problem is that the marketing tactic, even if it's executed 100% well, it's still going to fail to solve the business problem that you are having, because you're a business and you have business problems, and you can't look at how to solve a business problem with a marketing tactic. And so you often kind of leave frustrated and, I didn't know this didn't work. And maybe you heard from your friend that owns a business like, oh, I did SEO and it did like really well, or I built this solid email marketing. And so, you're starting with the solution, i.e. Elevate Marketing Solutions, without fully understanding the problem. And that's why it fails. So there's, questions that you've got to ask, that your marketing agency should be able to explain more about what they recommend doing and why they recommend it. And this is why I've always maintained that you can't buy marketing in a package. You got to listen and see, like, what is the particular problem that you're having. So that's actually step 1, or question 1 of 6, is trying to understand what that business problem that you're trying to use marketing to solve. And you might say, well, duh, Jennifer, I need more business. Like, well, that's the obvious, but it might not be the actual problem that you're having. You need to dig like a little bit deeper. I mean, that's the problem that everybody wants to solve with marketing. But maybe you're just not even being seen. Like you don't even have any visibility. Maybe you're just not connecting with people. And so the messaging is the problem. Maybe it's actually when they get to your website, they're not actually converting. And so that information is not there. Maybe it's afterwards. Maybe it's, more with sales and there's no follow-up. Maybe even further, like they do buy, but the problem lies in, what else are we getting in front of them with? Like there's several different problems there, and there's several different marketing tactics that go along with that. And I don't want to go through all of those. I'm going to have a separate article that can kind of go through those, but you got to be very specific. Growing the business is not specific enough. And neither is like getting more exposure or improving our marketing. Like, and this is this is where people don't want to spend the time. And it's very natural as a business owner because I'm one myself, and it's go 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 and solve solve solve, because that's how our brains need to work in order to have a great business. But we need to step back and think about that. Okay, so number 2 is, who are you trying to reach? Who is this person that would buy your product and service? And it's not everybody. If we don't look at that and understand that, then none of the rest of the marketing makes sense. Yes, there is an order to this. If I can't speak directly to that audience and say it in a way that speaks to them, then I'm failed. And I'm not going to get them to buy. Like, I have to think through the questions that they think through before they buy my product or service. And we've certainly talked about this before, but there's some business problems that are associated with not your not knowing who your audience is, that marketing can solve if you actually know who you're trying to attract. Okay. Number 3, why should someone choose your business? And I know that sometimes business owners get into business because, they can sell widget A or widget B or service A or service B, and they don't think about like what makes them very different from everybody else. And they go off with this like, I'm just using service based industries. Oh, we have a free estimate, or we have this. And well, everybody has that. And this takes a lot of internal thought of, um, how are you different? And I've put it on my website of how I feel that I am different. But if you don't have a strong position on how you solve it differently, then you're not truly answering, why I should choose you. There's a lot of type of businesses, let's just say with healthcare that we deal with, like there's dentists everywhere. There are, I don't know, pediatrics everywhere. There are plumbers everywhere. There are HVAC companies everywhere. But what makes you unique is what you need to sell on and make you different. And it's not price. An offer is a good thing, but it's usually not price. They want to know value. So you got to start with that clarity. All right. So number 4, I think, seems obvious, but where should you invest your marketing budget? Different industries require different types of marketing. And so they're really just the marketing channels are not strategies. They are the vehicles that like get you there. And this goes back to the tactics that we talked about. And really the best marketing channel depends on the different problems that we were trying to answer in number 1, the business problem that you're having. So you have to stop looking at the channels, which is what is put in front of you, and not the tactic within the channel, but you've got to match different, problems to the solution. You got to also look at like matching the buyer's journey of how they go through and process. You know, Sometimes we want to just buy one type of marketing and think that it's going to solve it, but people do process things. And I've said it before, but we're not selling bubble gum, at least for most of our clients, where they walk up to the counter and it's a split decision. There is a process that they go through, and you need to think through that, or your marketing agency needs to think through that on what is that process. Okay, number 5 is, what do you want someone to do next? Do you want them to call you to fill out the form, request it? That's what most business answers, people come with, is that what I want them to do? Um, but it might not be what I want them to do at that particular stage. Going back to number 5 of where they're at, what do I need them to do at that point? You've got to create that marketing momentum. And you hear it a lot. Well, I just want them to make the phone call. Well, yeah, of course you do, but you're forgetting about like the process that people go through in order to buy. And you have to think through those different, you know, their readiness of when they're ready to buy. What can I give them at that stage, maybe with that piece of content, um, to make that easier. So, per usual, my blog post kind of will break this down into more information. So you'll have to head over to the website to kind of see all that. And this one is the 6 questions every strategic marketing plan must answer. So you'll have to go read that. And then number 6 is my marketing working. Again, going back to the business goal that you were originally trying to solve, not the marketing metric, and see if you are actually solving that particular problem with that. So, not every marketing activity produces immediate results. So, depending on the type of marketing that you have, you got to look at those results differently, and you got to look at those channels, and is that channel doing its job? Back to the buyer journey of where people are at when they engage with that channel. So just to give you an answer, like when I'm in Google Ads at that moment, I might actually at that moment actually searching for who is available, and that is the very end of the journey. And that's one type of marketing. Versus in social media, I might be higher up, and then the business owner is going to say, well, I just want the end. Well, so does everybody else. And so that's the most expensive place to play. If you want that to work harder, then you play higher up in the funnel and you do those other activities. So there are specific things that I do have, and I did write a blog post on the marketing metrics that you should be paying attention to right now. It's evolving quite a bit, and what we look at is different now than what we looked at the end. But at the end of the day, it does go back to that initial, am I generating more leads or more opportunities for the business, and then let each individual channels do their job. That way you can make better marketing decisions. So, before you invest and say that you need more marketing, just pause for a moment and think through these 6 questions and start with that really important one. What is the business problem that you are attempting to solve? So, all right, well, that is it for today. I hope that helps you kind of think through this. My name is Jennifer Denny, and that's Denney. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, I usually post all of these there. And if you want to go to our website, it is elevatedmarketing.solutions. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Take care.